Week 8 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to pick up and add this week. The first guy, Michael Wacha, the San Diego Padres. So over the last few weeks here, Wacha has been one of the better pitchers in all fantasy baseball on the season. 50 and a third, 5-1 record, 45 strikeouts, a 3.46 ERA, and a 1.07 whip with 5 quality starts on the season. So right now, Wacha's gone out there and he's really mowed down the competition, and he's pretty much been unhittable for the most part. The last few weeks as well for him, 19 innings, 3-0 record, 19 strikeouts, 0.49 ERA, and a 0.42 whip with 4 quality starts in the time. So Michael Wacha right now, he's out there. After this will be the last time that fantasy owners could go out there and get him after 3 great outings in a row here for Michael Wacha. So this Padre team we know struggling this season, but believe it or not, Wacha's been their best starting pitcher. Musgrove's been up and down so far. Darvish, he's had a couple hiccups as well. And Blake Snell, he just hasn't been that good this season. So Wacha, the last few games, May 9th at the Twins in that one, 6 innings, got the win. 3 hits, a run, 3 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. May 15th versus the Royals, he flirted with a no-hitter in that one a little bit. 7 innings, got the win. 1 hit in that one, no runs, a walk, 11 strikeouts, which is surprising, and the quality start. May 21st versus former team, the Boston Red Sox, in yesterday's game. 6 innings, got the win, 5 hits, no runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. So 4 quality starts in a row now for Michael Wacha. And he's going out there and playing great baseball, obviously, for this San Diego Padre team, even though they're not really scoring a lot of runs this season and they're not playing good baseball. But right now, while Wacha is on fire and pitching great, he's the pitcher to pick up this week here. And I don't think the numbers are going to stay at the rate they are right now for Wacha, but he's definitely an innings eater. And even last season was solid as well with the Red Sox. The next pitcher is Dean Kremer of the Baltimore Orioles. So Kremer, he's getting things going over the last few weeks here for this Oriole team. And he's definitely had fantasy value now, is Kremer. Still out there in 76% of leagues on the season for Kremer. 52 and 2/3. 5-1 record, 43 strikeouts, a 4.74 ERA, and a 1.32 whip with 3 quality starts in the season. But the last few weeks here for Kremer, it's been good for him. 17 innings, 2-0 record, 15 strikeouts, a 2 ERA, 0.98 whip, and quality start in the time. So Kremer, I know you don't go that deep into games for the Baltimore Orioles, but it's hard to find a lot of guys that are going to go more than 5 or 6 innings nowadays. It's just the way the game is, especially with 8 bullpen guys usually per team. But Kremer and this Oriole team playing great baseball. They're coming off a sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays over the weekend, and right now he's gone out there and he's been a quality player for fantasy owners. May 10th versus the Rays, 6 innings, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. May 16th versus the Angels, 5 2/3, got the win. 6 hits, 3 runs, 4 Ks in that one. And May 21st at the Jays, 5 1/3, no decision. 9 hits, a run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. So right now, Kremer's going out there. I know he's in a tough division with good hitting teams like the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and Red Sox, but he's been holding his own, is Kremer. So right now, if you need a guy who could give you some innings, not going to get a lot of strikeouts, usually 4 or 5 strikeouts per game, but he'll give you some innings, decent ERA, and on a pretty solid team, Dean Kremer is a good pickup this week. The next pitcher I looked at off the wire this week here is Dane Dunning of the Texas Rangers. I've mentioned Dunning for weeks now as a pickup, and right now, surprisingly, he's still out there in 47% of fantasy leagues, and he's been a great fill-in for Jacob deGrom, who's still going to need at least a few more weeks, probably months, the way deGrom's injury history has been for him. So on the season for Dunning, 37 1/3, 4-0 record, 23 Ks, a great 1.69 ERA, an 0.88 whip, and 2 quality starts. Dunning, he's gone out there and he's pitching great baseball for this Texas Ranger team. And like I said, they haven't missed a beat with him filling in for Jacob deGrom. But it's surprising to me he's still out there in 47% of fantasy leagues. And right here, he's got a great matchup tonight at the Pittsburgh Pirates that we know is a pretty weak hitting team. So the last few outings for Dunning, May 10th at the Mariners, 6 innings, got the win. 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 5 Ks, a quality start. And May 16th versus the Braves, 6 innings, got the win in that one. Held his own, 6 hits, a run, 4 Ks, a quality start. So right now, Texas Rangers is probably the best hitting team in terms of putting runs up. Had 10-plus games already with 10 runs or more in a game. So this Ranger team's hitting the ball at a great pace. Dolis Garcia is leading that offense, and Dane Dunning, he's keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's getting easy outs with pop outs and ground outs. And right now he's feeling great, and with a great outing here tonight with the Pirates, we'll see if he could keep it up. But right now, even if it's a bad game, he's a solid pickup is Dunning. The ERA is down. He's going 5 or 6 innings. And like I said, he's got a great backing by that Ranger offense. The next pitch is Jared Schuster of the Atlanta Braves. So we know the Braves have some injuries in the rotation. Kyle Wright's out for a while, and Max Fried's probably going to be out a month and a half to 2 months. So Schuster, he was up early in the season, but he wasn't going to get anything going. But now he's come back in the rotation so far since the injuries, and he's been pretty decent as Schuster on the season. Not much under his belt, 19 2/3, 1-2 record on the season, 15 strikeouts. ERA's inflated, obviously, with a 5.24 and a 1.60 whip with a quality start on the year. So Schuster, he's here to stay for this Atlanta Brave team, like I said, with these major injuries in the rotation to Wright and Fried. And he was a decent prospect as well. But when you got one of the best hitting offenses backing you up with this Atlanta Brave offense, Schuster is going to be a pitcher that's going to be quality for fantasy owners, I believe. May 16th at the Rangers, 5 innings, got the loss. 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks in that one. And May 21st, versus the Mariners, 6 innings, got the win. A hit, a run, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. So it's surprising to me Schuster's out there right now in 93% of fantasy leagues. He's on a good team. He's got pretty good stuff. I know the Mariners' offense isn't great, but they still were a playoff team last season. And they still have some really good hitters, obviously, led by Julio Rodriguez. Ty France, he's been a solid hitter over the seasons. Got Eugenio Suarez that could leave the yard, Jared Kelenic. So there's some hitters in the lineup, and Schuster held his own right there versus them. So right now, surprisingly out there, 93% of fantasy leagues, this guy would give an ad to is Schuster this week here. And like I said, with a backing, with an offense like the Braves, he definitely could give you 5-6 innings and pile up the wins pretty easily, I believe, is Schuster this season. Next guy's Louis Varland of the Minnesota Twins. So Varland still out there in 70% of fantasy leagues. Yeah, I mentioned him as a pickup last week, and so far he's off to a great start as Varland this year. 28 innings, 2-0 record, 31 Ks, a 4.18 ERA, 1.25 whip, and 3 quality starts. He pitches in a good ballpark over there in Minnesota, where it's not really a hitter's park. He pitches in a division where there's not great hitting in the AL Central. You got the Tigers, weak hitting team. Got the Royals, one of the worst teams in the league. And you also got the White Sox that are an up and down type of team. So Varland's gone out there, and he's pitched great baseball, like I said, for the Minnesota Twins. And he should be on the more fantasy leagues. So far, we've seen a lot of prospects come up. And believe it or not, Varland's been one of the better guys. Obviously, Bryce Miller leads that list of the top pitching prospects coming up this season and playing great baseball. So the last few games here for Varland, May 9th versus the Padres, 6 innings, no decision. 5 hits, a run, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a quality start. May 14th versus the Cubs, 6 1/3, got the win. 4 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. And May 20th at the Angels, I know he only went 5 innings, but that's a tough Angel lineup. 5 innings, got the win. 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. So right now he's going 5 or 6 innings. Is Louis Varland. We saw him last season come up for a cup of coffee, and he really wasn't going deep into games, but he has decent stuff. Plays in a good division, plays in a good park. Everything lines up for him. And right now, I think he's going to be a mainstay for this rotation. Tyler Mahle, we know he's out for the season. And Kenta Maeda, he's been worked in the bullpen a lot throughout his career. So I could see that as well, where the Twins just bring him back and put him in the bullpen because Varland's giving him quality innings and he's pitching good baseball. So right now, I would go out there and pick Varland up this week. And next guy's Bobby Miller of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the Dodgers here, a lot of injuries in their rotation. Julio Urias, he's going to be out now with a hamstring strain. And Dustin May hurt the elbow. So we got Bobby Miller coming up and Gavin Stone, and obviously both these guys on the list. But first, Bobby Miller, I'm going to talk about. So Miller had a little bit of an injury for him in the minor leagues and was working his way back. But one of the top pitching prospects in all the major leagues. And right now, this is a time to go out there and get him. He's got big strikeout stuff. Is Bobby Miller. He plays on a great team like the Dodgers that's going to give an offensive backing. And like I said, with those injuries to Dustin May, who's out 4 to 6 weeks, and Urias, maybe he'll only be out 2 or 3 weeks, but still, Miller's going to get an opportunity. And right now, he's available is Miller in 89% of fantasy leagues, but quickly that could change. And I know Tuesday's his major league debut. Tough matchup, no doubt about it, versus the Atlanta Braves, one of the top hitting teams in all the major leagues. But Bobby Miller, like I said, he's got great stuff, and I think he could have high strikeout stuff. So far in the season, in AAA on the year, we didn't see much out of him. Only 14 and a third after missing a few weeks with the shoulder injury. 5.65 ERA, but he did have 12 strikeouts and 6 walks in the time. So he's got electric stuff. He's got his strikeout flamethrower stuff as well. And like I said, he's one of the top pitching prospects, and the time is now in the Dodger system to call him up. So right now, if I had to go between Gavin Stone and Miller and had to choose one for your rotation, I think Bobby Miller more upside. And we saw Gavin Stone, a lot of contact he gave up in his only start. So Stone right now available in 88% of fantasy leagues, and he's starting here today versus the Atlanta Braves. So in his cup of coffee versus the Philadelphia Phillies early in the season, Stone didn't do much in that one. It was a bad ball game. Debut 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, a strikeout in that one for Gavin Stone versus the Phillies. So another tough matchup, obviously, at the Atlanta Braves, leading the division over there in the NL East. But right here, these guys, they got good stuff for Stone and Bobby Miller. And we've seen some prospects come up so far and be pretty solid. Bryce Miller, obviously, the number 1 guy. Brandon Pfaadt, he's been all right the last 2 outings. Tanner Bigby, he's been solid. So right here, Stone and Miller, they're supposedly big-time prospects, and we'll see if it happens for these guys. But like I said, when you got a good backing and an offense like the Los Angeles Dodgers, that could take a lot of pressure off a young player. So with the tough matchups, they're going to be in the rotation for a little bit here, since the Dodgers have no one else really. And right now, it's still too early in the year to make a trade, even though a few teams, aren't going to make the playoffs. So right now, Gavin Stone's a pitcher I look to go out there and get this week. The next guy's Taj Bradley of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Bradley, he's got off to a hot start, 3-0. And then the Tampa Bay Rays sent them down to the minor leagues to work on things. But now they got injuries of their own, and they had no choice but to call Bradley back. So Rasmussen, he's out for a while. And Jeffrey Springs out early in the year, needing Tommy John surgery. So now Bradley back in the major leagues here. He's on the best team in baseball record-wise. This Tampa Bay team just keeps at it. And so far in the year for Bradley, 20 and a third, 3-0 record, 27 Ks, 3.54 ERA, 0.93 whip, and no quality starts in the season. So he's pretty much been a 5 and a third pitcher right now is Todd Bradley. But like I said, he's on the best team in baseball right now. He's a guy that could go out there, get your strikeouts, could get in position, even if he's pitching 5-6 innings to get wins, obviously, is Bradley. So the last few outings here for him, April 18th at the Reds, 5 and a third, got the win. 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 9 Ks. April 24th versus the Astros, 5 innings, got the win. 4 hits, 3 runs, 6 Ks. And May 18th in his return at the Mets, after a few starts in the minors, 5 innings, no decision. 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. So right now, pitching good baseball. And the last 2 outings have been versus good hitting teams in the Astros. And the Mets have been on a hot streak of late, showing the power. So right now, Bradley out there in 45% of fantasy leagues. Like I said, he's going to be a mainstay for a while, I believe. Here's Bradley. That was for this season, of course, with Rasmussen and Springs, who's out for the season. So his next outing is tomorrow versus Toronto Blue Jays. We know the Blue Jays have great hitting, but this kid's got a nice cutter, and he's got good stuff. And like I said, the last 2 outings versus good hitting offenses, he held his own for the most part, is Bradley. And right now, it wouldn't surprise me if he keeps it going, and a guy could have success with that cutter, just the movement and the poise he has right now on there. So right now, Bradley's a good pickup this week. The next pitcher is James Paxton of the Boston Red Sox. So Paxton, I know he's been very injury prone throughout his career, but going back to his Seattle days, he had some monster years in his major league career. And so far with the Red Sox, in a small sample size, 11 innings, 1-0 record, 14 Ks, a 2.45 ERA, 1.09 whip, and a quality start on the season. So far in the first 2 outings here for James Paxton, he's been pretty solid for fantasy owners and the Boston Red Sox, who obviously have been looking for pitching over the last couple of years. So right now, Paxton, he's out there in 61% of fantasy leagues. His next outing is May 24th at a good Angel hitting team. And the main thing with him is health, because everything else, if he could just be healthy, he's still a guy that could throw strikes. And his velocity's definitely been up a few miles per hour, and we haven't seen that in the last few years, him hit 96, 97. May 12th versus the Cardinals, 5 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 9 Ks in that one. And then May 19th at a good hitting San Diego team, even though they haven't shown much lately. 6 innings, got the win, 5 hits, a run, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a quality start. So right here, Paxton going out there. Red Sox needed pitching help, and he can help fantasy owners in the back end, I believe, of their rotation and on their rosters. A guy could get some strikeouts. So far, 14 Ks, first 2 outings, and he's on a decent team in Boston right now. I know they're not a great team, but middle of the pack type of team, but they've been scoring runs of late as well, led by Rafael Devers. So right now, Paxton, as long as he's healthy, I think he could be a decent fantasy contributor in 10 and 12 team leagues. And the final pitcher I looked at this week off the wire is Matthew Liberatore of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Liberatore, I know he came out of the bullpen in yesterday's ball game and didn't look good, but right now the Cardinals should stop toying with him, in my opinion, and put him in the rotation. We saw a great outing from him earlier last week. Steven Matz, he's pretty much been a bust. I know they're paying him good money as his Cardinal team, and he's still under contract for 2 more seasons after this year. But Liberatore right now, he's the future, one of their top pitching prospects in the system, and right now, surprisingly, still out there in 62% of fantasy leagues. On the season, like I said, 6 innings, 1 of them a relief outing, 1-0 record, 7 strikeouts on the year for Liberatore, a 1.50 whip on the season. So right now, last season we saw Liberatore wasn't good in 34 2/3, 2-2 record, 28 Ks, a 5.97 ERA, but a 1.73 whip and no quality start. So the only thing with Liberatore I'd be a little weary of, obviously, he's not going to go deep into games. He didn't last season. He's a 5-inning pitcher, 6 at best. And right now he's in the bullpen, but supposedly his next outing will be Wednesday at the Cincinnati Reds, which is a good matchup. In his first outing versus a solid hitting team in the Brewers, he went out there and pitched 12 innings, got the win. 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. So right now he should be in the rotation. They put him in the bullpen for now. He only pitched an inning versus the Dodgers. And right now, he's going to go out there on Wednesday at Cincinnati with a decent matchup. So right now, time for fantasy owners, I believe, to go out there and get a Liberatore. Because if he sticks in the rotation, he's a lefty. He's got some solid stuff. And he's done it all at AAA. So right now, it's his time to pitch in this rotation while Steven Matz is struggling. I believe he's a better option. So that's a few pitches I love to add here off the wire in Week 8 of the fantasy baseball season.